Okay, so we are in Algebra Chapter 1, Section 2, Finding Cubed Roots. Um, we're very familiar with square roots. If I wanted to ask you the square root of 64, you could tell me that's 8. Or the square root of 9, you would tell me that's 3. What if I asked you to find the cubed root of the number 8? Cubed root simply means what number times itself 3 times is going to be 8. So obviously we could just look at a little bit of trial and error. We could start low with 1 times 1 times 1. That doesn't get us there. Then maybe we could just go to 2 times 2 times 2. And 2 times 2 is 4. And 4 times 2 is 8. So that's actually the correct answer. So the cubed root of 8 is 2. So square roots, what times itself equals something. Cubed roots, what times itself 3 times equals something. So in this case, we can also have negative cubed roots, because if I take a negative times a negative times a negative, that's going to give me a negative value. And I said negative cube root, and then I didn't write it over here. What I meant to write was negative 27. If I were to use my example before, and I were to take, instead of 2 times 2 times 2, I did negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Obviously, that's too small, so in this case, maybe we go up to 3. So we try negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And positive 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. So the cubed root of negative 27 is that negative 3. Now, the bonus here is we're now in algebra, and we can use our calculator, so we don't have to do this manually all the time. So we can find cubed roots multiple different ways. Obviously, they're going to give you a big number from time to time, but most of them will be fairly simple. So let's look at some expressions that involve some cube roots. Maybe we take something like the cube root of negative 64. And then we square it, and then we add 14 to it. So cubed root of negative 64, obviously we just went through 27, and that was negative 3. So let's just I'm going to show everything by hand, but if you're doing it on your calculator, you can get this a lot quicker. So let's just go up to the next number, which would be negative 4, and let's see what that comes out to be. So negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. And positive 16 times negative 4 is negative 64. So the cubed root of negative 64 is negative 4. We're going to square that and add 14 to it. So negative 4 squared, that's negative 4 times negative 4, which is going to give you 16. And then we're going to add 14 to it, which will give us a total value of 30. Again, tons of different ways they can write expressions. I want to get into one that has a fraction, because I know we have common fears of fractions, and I want to get rid of those common fears. So what if we had x divided by 4? X divided by 4, and we're going to add the cubed root of x divided by 3. And what if I told you that x equals 192? So we're going to substitute that in and find out our actual expression. So everywhere I see an x, I replace it with 192. So that's 192 divided by 4 plus the cubed root of 192 divided by 3. Now the question is, okay, do I do that cubed root, or do I do the 192 divided by 3 first? And I will tell you that we're going to do the 192 divided by 3 first. So 192 divided by 4 gives me a value of 48. (192) divided by 3 gives me a value of 64. Now some of these will start looking familiar. Notice that we had a negative 64 in the last one, and that value was negative 4. So if we have a positive 64 in this one, that value is going to be positive 4. So this will be 48, and the cubed root of 64 is 4, giving us a final answer of 52. I want to throw one more fraction in there, and I want to look at something like this. What if I asked you what the cubed root of 1 over 64 was? Now, you have to ask yourself, what are we taking the cubed root of? I can rewrite this to be the cubed root of 1 all over the cubed root of 64. Because the cubed root is over the entire fraction, I have to find both. Well, as intimidating as this might look, we know the cubed root of 1 has to be 1. Because if I multiply by itself 3 times, 1 times 1 times 1 is still 1. And we have already found out in the other examples that we've done that the cubed root of 64 is 4. So that simply reduces or simplifies at 1/4. That is chapter 1, section 2, finding cubed roots.